Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. It is 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. over here Mountain Standard Time. Saturday, October 22nd. You're all in for an unbelievable treat. We have none other than a mom of seven, a serial businesswoman, and a philanthropist who is blessing as many people as she can on a daily basis. Our compliance officer, inline ambassador, our co-founder in RRR247, my best friend and mentor at the same time, because she's constantly helping me organize my day and become better and be more productive so I can help even more people. Miss Tanya Rickard. Just can't wait to hear all these golden nuggets you're going to drop. Get out your pens, everybody. Get a fresh page to write on. You're ready to take a lot of notes.
Thank you, Niall. Just getting ready here. Here we go. Okay. Thank you. Hi, guys. Welcome. Excited for Saturday. I have lots of notes from Rory, the things he would like me to cover. And if you're new and you do not know who my husband is, Rory Rickard is the founder and the designer, I like to call him, behind the PBS system. And so, yeah, I think that it's relevant to say that because we have been in this industry I'm going to say 35 years now. How long have I been in this industry? A long time. Yeah, I think 35, maybe more actually.
All of our adult life.
Yeah, it's been since I was 18 and could join. So yeah, a long time. But anyway, we have some notes, and things have changed here with our world. Kind of since our lovely COVID release there, which I say that facetiously. As one who suffered from it myself. So anyway, it's kind of forced us to kind of go back into the home and work back into the home. So with all that being said, a lot of new trainings come up, a lot of different things there's some golden nuggets out there for being professional and working from home and all this jazz. It's also, I feel, making it easier for you guys, for us to work from home and to prioritize and for people to understand like what's going on, right? Because I remember back in the day, we used to have to explain to them how working from home was a benefit and why it was good and all that stuff. And now I feel like people understand it now and they know more about working from home. It's even more, even the companies that they were absolutely required to work from the office ever since 2020 have now allowing their employees to choose if they would like to work from home. So for me, that opens up the idea that as we grow here, it's easier for people to have this job and work this until they become full-time here, if that's their goal, which I'm hoping that it is, obviously. So we're going to talk about a little bit of professionalism here in the home, and especially going to be relating this to our Tuesday calls. If you do not know what they are, if you guys are new, I'm so excited to have you here. But if you are, and if you've attended them once or twice, great. But that is our main business call. That is the one you do not miss ever. If you have to choose and you're only limited to, that's the one you attend. Always. It's where Rory gives, or myself gives extra details, or we download on different things that are happening, different policies, procedures, different events, different things like that. It's truthfully where you need to be if you are new here. For anyone, excuse me. But with that being said, we're on the Zoom as we are now, right? We're on a Zoom meeting. And so Rory wanted me to kind of cover some more professional ways to approach this. And I think I want to first say a lot of you guys have never worked like this before. So I understand that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well, because I got lots of notes, guys. I'm a note person. But and that being said, I want to hit on that because Niall and I were talking this morning, and you're never too old to take notes. It's amazing to me, and I'm going to hit on this for a moment because we're going to go into it. I'm going to ask you to take notes. But it's amazing to me, like even myself and Rory, who've been in this business for a long, long time, when we go to events, we take notes. We take notes. We're always into the note taking. There might be some little gem that hits you, and maybe you've heard it 100 times, but you hear it once this time and it hits you. And to me, personal growth, which is where we're striving for right here, is all about finding that little gem when it hits and it affects your life in that moment and adapting it. So it's really important that you guys take notes so that you can refer back to them. If you guys are doing, well, I think that's another subject for another day, but morning meditation, when you're you're interviewing your day. That's what I like to call it. When I'm interviewing my day, how am I going to plan it out? How am I going to fit everything in that I need to fit in? And I'm kind of meditating my morning. That's when I kind of refer back to notes from different meetings, different topics, different things, and I can relate to those into my day, or just relate them into a change in my life that I want to adapt. So anyway, that was just a little side note there. But going back to it, we're going to talk about our Zoom meetings, you guys. They're super important. It's as if you were at a board meeting in a regular office environment. Now, I know that the Tuesday night call is late for some of you. It's 7 o'clock my time, and it's 6 o'clock PST. So I know that some of you guys are eating dinner. Some of you guys are just finishing up the Goya lines. Some of you guys it's later, it's 9 o'clock, and you guys are tired. I totally get that. So I'm going to recommend a few different things for that. One would be, please make sure that if you are Eastern time or Atlantic, that you're resetting before the call. That's your time to kind of eat, relax, freshen up if you want to, kind of revamp your mind. We have this handy little thing called brains, right? That we can take that'll also help us to, if you don't know what those are, make sure you talk to your instructor. But we have these things that'll help us kind of revitalize our brain and our energy. And that's kind of that time for that. That's when we're gonna do all that, right? Just kind of reset. So myself, I stop working at like 4:30 because I have to make dinner. So make dinner, feed my husband, clean up, and then go back to it, right? But I refresh myself because I feel more professional. I feel more awake when I do that. So we're going to cover a few things, because the main thing for me, and I put this down because I wanted to talk to you about it. If you guys don't understand the community that you're in, then you don't understand the environment that's here, right? So I'm going to explain the work from home. You guys are selling yourself, right? When you're talking to people on the phone, just in case you didn't know that, people buy into you. We are first and foremost a people business, right? So who you are, how you reflect, what you represent is you, and you're an extension of us. So professionalism is always required. It just is. And there's different ways and different things that you guys can go about it differently. But I'm going to give you guys a list here. We're gonna cover these pretty much in depth today. But it's going to be referring mostly to the Zoom meetings, and then I'm going to have a couple other things to talk about. But when we're on the Zoom meetings, particularly, I'm referring to the Tuesday call. Make sure you are on time, okay? Especially, you guys never know when I'm doing it or when my husband's doing it, and he tends to go a little lengthier than I do, but I'm short, sweet, and to the point for the most part. That's just my personality type. While Rory likes to love on everybody and say different ways so y'all can have your way to hear it, right? So we're just a little bit different, but be on time. Sometimes those things are going to be dropped first thing in the morning, first thing, boom, they're done, they're there. So make sure that you're always on time. That's super, super important. Second, it was going into kind of what I was saying before, is dressing appropriately, making sure that you are not in your pajamas, or you're not wearing like a swimsuit or something that's inappropriate. This is a business meeting, right? That is a business meeting. For those of you who are instructors, especially, you guys know you're welcoming your students that you've probably never seen before. You're welcoming people there. So you need to make sure that you are dressed appropriately. Again, that goes back to the thing that you're selling yourself originally, right? You're going to work with these people. You're committing to work with your people, and then love on them, encourage them, and help them grow and change their lives to greater things. So with that being said, you please dress appropriately. That's so important. It also, I feel, I'm going to talk on this for a moment, because you feel differently when you're in your pajamas as when you're dressed in a nice shirt, right? And a pair of, I have a skirt on. Like when I'm dressed like this, or my husband will be in nice jeans and a nice shirt, you just feel better. There's just something about that. It gives you that mental energy, that mental clarity. So that's why I say before the call, reset yourself. Do your RRR, your reset, refocus, recommit. Be ready to be focused and be a part of the community here that we have and what we have to offer. The next thing is I'm going to talk about, I want you guys to look at my background. I have my windows open today, but normally those are closed. Making sure your background is clean and clear, right? And now it might be a hot mess right outside the camera. If that's how you like to live, do you, boo? I'm not talking about that at all. But for me, if I was to turn you around, my house is pretty clean. I got a little mess over here on this side. Not going to lie, I'm destashing a bunch of stuff because I do that on a regular basis. But for the most part, I can have somebody come sit in my office and it's very clean, right? but that's so just making sure that you don't have piles and piles of things behind you. It is people actually search through these pictures. I don't know why I don't do it, but people search through them and look at people's backgrounds and what they're wearing. They actually do this. So just making sure that your environment is safe and clean and clear. And like I said, maybe it's a hot mess right there. Doesn't matter. Whatever's in the frame, the picture frame, just make sure that that is professional and you're setting the right message to the new people coming in. So next I would want to say is stay muted. And this, I'm going to talk about a couple different things here, but stay muted, you guys. Do not unmute unless Niall asks you. You're a newbie. He wants to hear where you're from and who you're with. Stay muted, please, because when we have the instructors unmuting and saying that's mine, that's great, but it interrupts the newbies that are trying to announce themselves. So please welcome them in the chat. That's totally fine, but let's just make sure that we're not unmuting ourselves unless you are being called to unmute, right? So with that, I'm gonna skip ahead. Well, no, okay, I'm not gonna skip ahead because I'm a blueprint. We don't do that. If you don't know what that is, you will learn. I was about to try and pull a Rory, but I can't do it. I have to be true to me. Okay. The next one I want to say is make sure that you are in your webcam is nice. And if you don't have a clean and clear background, there are backgrounds you can get. Okay. So if you're going to be a speaker, if you're going to be on especially on our wine and dines on Wednesdays, make sure your kitchens are cleaned. Make sure that your background is clean. Make sure that you have checked out your video equipment so that it's good and professional for the calls. It's really important. We, again, like I said, you guys are an extension of what we're trying to do here. And if somebody comes in for somebody else and they see your house a mess and it's like, whoa, I wouldn't cook in that kitchen with a 10-foot pole. That's not a good message to be sending. And while there's going to be lived in, I'm not saying it has to be picture perfect because mine sure isn't, but it does need to be clean and clear, right? Ready to because what we really want to display is the wine. That's what we want on display. That's what we want to be showing. So just that's something that we need to talk about there. And then the next one here is make sure your internet connection is stable. Especially if you are an instructor, when at all possible, it happens. We understand that it happens, but especially if you are talking and speaking, make sure that you have a good connection there. So this one is another one that's kind of hard for me, and I will be honest, but don't multitask. When you're here, be present. Sometimes I tend to go off a little bit, but I'm trying really hard to work on being present and what we're doing, what we're saying. That's how you miss things. And the thing is, you guys, a lot of the issues that we have behind the scenes is because people don't listen when they're here. So when you're at trainings and when you're in any of this kind of stuff, be present, listening to what's going on. We're giving instruction. We're not trying to waste your time. We're giving you instruction that will help you or something that's updated that you need to know, right? So please make sure you're listening and you're present in what we're doing. With that being said, don't eat, don't smoke, don't drink during the calls. All right. I understand sometimes that has, like I said, especially I understand that, Pacific time zone, it's your dinner. I get it. Maybe eat a little bit later that night or eat a little bit earlier. That's okay. On the Monday night calls, we eat at 4 because we have to, because we have calls way early during our dinner time. So sometimes you just have to make things work. Right. So just make sure you're doing that. And with that, this is where I wanted to say, you guys, please make sure when you come in to the call that you are muted. Niall has you allowed to unmute, and he has that so you can come in because he wants people to be able to say hello and to welcome people and all that. So just be respectful of the background noise. Make sure your TVs aren't on. Again, that's part about being present, right? Make sure your TVs aren't on. You don't have, loudness coming on, because then when you unmute, everybody gets to hear that. And you guys, we've had many conversations on here on the calls where husband and wife are having a disagreement. Nobody needs to know that, and we hear it. So just FYI, we love you and we care about you, but we don't need to know all your personal business, right? That's between you and your husband and God. So you can keep it that way. So let's just make sure that we're being and that's also just being considerate of others and their time. And sometimes our ears kind of get blown out, especially those of us who are hosting. So just making sure that that's a priority as well. Also, you guys, do not make sure part of having the etiquette here is not raising your hand a bunch. When everyone starts raising their hand, it moves the screens away and it's hard for us to find what's going on. So unless asked, please don't ask questions. my husband tends to get sidetracked by that, and then it makes the call 10 times longer. So please make sure that you are not like interrupting and asking questions unless he called for them, or I call for them, or Niall does. And with that, also with that, especially on some of the trainings that I've kind of browsed in here with different teams, there is a respect that is earned by the instructors here. I feel especially our MSIs, don't ever disrespect them, especially on a call. Just please, if you have a question, or you want to have, if you're questioning something they're saying, one, don't do it, because if they're saying it, as they've probably cleared it with Rory and I. So please, just have that privately, have that private conversation. It doesn't need to be on a call in front of everybody. So if you need clarification on something, or you think they're wrong, don't tell them they're wrong. Because the thing is, a lot of people, the first time that they're going to be meeting this MSI who's up there, who's teaching, taking time out of their day and time away from growing their business, right, to help here. That's the first time a lot of people are meeting you, and they don't know the culture here. They don't know what's going on, and they don't need to hear that. They need to know that these instructors give a lot of their time and their energy to help grow everyone here. So that's super important to say. Let me see, what else do I have here? Oh, a big one that we have, big issue is, I think I've kind of covered it, but listen and don't talk over others. So like I said, with the don't unmute unless you are new and Niall's asking for it. And then again, on our wine and dines, this is a major problem, is people talking over each other. And let's just make sure that we mute the phone when you're not sharing your food or whatever. And then when it's time for you to share, you can unmute. And that way it goes more smoothly. So that's kind of important. That doesn't really necessarily happen in this particular setting. Let's see, maintaining eye contact with those who are speaking, being, again, that just goes to being present. And make sure, you guys, please make sure that your webcams are set appropriately, whatever your camera is. Please make sure it's angled appropriately, okay? Nobody wants to be looking lower than they need to. So please make sure that it's up your face. I'll always say, please try it beforehand. Like, make sure, like when you're coming in first, maybe adjust it, make sure it's professional. I mean, I know a lot of this goes without saying, but some people are new. They've never done this, so they don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. Again, I talked about the background noise, and then you guys, please come ready to take notes, because like I said before, you never know what you're going to learn, what's going to strike you at that moment. And also, when you're getting thrown at you new information about new things, you're going to want notes to refer to. I sure as heck do. So make sure you have that and you're ready. And another thing here I want to say is, please be open to growth and change. Sometimes growing outside of your comfort zone is hard. Absolutely. But be willing to grow and change and go with everything too. Just be open. You know, we're saying it with love and kindness. So there's never anything that is meant to be inappropriate. So I think that is everything as regarding the Zoom. I think I'm ready to talk about a couple other. Niall, did I miss anything with the Zooming?
Absolutely not. That was just all good stuff. It's hard to work from home. Everybody says you're so lucky you get to work from home. There are more distractions in a home than there ever will be in a cubicle or an office. It's freedom, but it's hard to stay disciplined and be professional when you're in that atmosphere. But if you do it and you just try to exercise it daily, there's no limit to where you can go physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. It's all great stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about is working from home too, is because you guys, I'm a pro at this. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't know if I'm a pro, but I guess I'm very well trained, right? So we are going to hit on working from home, but a couple of the things I want to hit on very quickly is that, again, if you guys have never done this before, these are your business tools, right? The meetings, your phone voicemails, your emails. So we're going to talk, I just want to hit on that. I think it's super important that when you're setting up your email, make sure it's professional. If you want to have like a signature, make sure it's professional. And it's not like, hit me back, bro. Like, we don't need that here. That's not the kind of, it's fun and that's cute to have with your family, but let's keep it professional as well. It'll also just help you build and grow better. That's really and truthfully what it is. It's the same thing with your voicemail. I heard a voicemail. I'm like, oh my goodness. If I listened to that voicemail, I'd be like, click, nope, I'm done. Bye-bye. I'm not going to work with that person. Okay. So please check your voicemails. And that is a business tool. I'm laughing because I was like, wow, you just think everybody knows, but if they're new at this, and they've never done it, they don't know, right? Your phone is now a tool. So let's use it appropriately. With that being said as well, like we have Skype and Trello here that we use a lot. Every single one of you guys should have a picture on there, especially if you are an instructor and above, but everyone should. So let's take appropriate pictures as well and put on there, right? Nobody needs to be looking through there and all of a sudden see someone's picture and go, whoa, what's in their mouth? Like, I don't need that. No one needs to know that you chew 5 times before you swallow. Let's just go on from there. Okay. So making sure, please, I still see even some PSIs don't have their picture on there. They should. You all should have your pictures on there on your Trello card. It also helps me when I'm working and I need to convert somebody from Skype to Trello, I can find their picture easily. So if you can have the same picture, that really does help everyone. But make sure it is professional. And yeah, that's enough of that one. That's enough of that one. We're going to hit on a few things of working from home. So now I'll hit on a little bit of it there. But like I said, if you guys are new from working from home, welcome to the amazingness that we call freedom, right? We can set our schedules. And with that, you guys, it takes a very dedicated person to be successful while working from home, because it is freaking hard, especially if you have children or grandchildren in the background, or a mother that you're taking care of, or a father, anything like that. If you have people that live with you, it's super hard, right? It just is. They don't understand that your time isn't theirs, that they can't just come interrupt you. It all goes back to training and education. And it took me a few years to train my children so that they knew when I was working, that was mom's work time and she was going to give me dedicated time. But if they opened my office door, they better be bleeding or broken. And that was that, right? So they knew that mom was serious business there. And so it's just about educating your family. And sometimes with love, you have to lovingly remind them, mom is working. You need to have that door shut and keep it down a notch, or whatever. But it is a pattern, right? And it takes time to train. I have grandchildren now that I help out and I help watch. And it's not always easy with a 4-year-old. They don't understand. So, I mean, there is love. And the great thing about that too, is that we are working from home and we are showing people this is real. So when you're on that phone and you do get that little interruption, they know you're a real human too, right? We're all real humans. So it's okay. It's not like a life or death, but it is about educating. And especially I'm more referring, I guess, to your spouses. Make sure that they understand why you're doing it. Your why is so important. We kind of covered this on the Tuesday call, but your why is so important. This is why I'm doing it. Have them buy in with you. That will help them to understand the purpose of why you're doing this. Have them help you, for heck's sakes. They can help post ads too. They can help drive traffic to your site. They can maybe help you rewrite pages. I know one of our GSIs here, she's like not so great at writing, she said, but her husband is. So he helps write her pages. Yes, he's bought into her why and he helps. So, I mean, it's okay for that. You can be a joint team. Rory and I are. It's all good. And you know what? Most of the time you marry your opposite. So you have strengths in each strength, you're stronger in certain areas than the other person, and you complement each other. And truthfully, husband and wife are a powerhouse couple when they get together. They really are. They're just amazing. So, okay, guys, work from home tips. Here we go. Ready? 1, this is super important. I'm going to give you the numbers even because I am a friend. 1, maintain your morning routine. Maintain a morning routine. If you don't have one, get one. I talked a little bit about mine. I have a lot of prayer, meditation, and I read something and I walk. It's super important to have that downtime. It's kind of that decompression time. And I have a date with my planner for the day. What are the top 3 things I want to get done? What are they? Who am I going to, and here's the thing about that. Those priorities are priorities. Don't stop until it's there. They're done. We have one of our MSIs here, when asked why she is so consistent, she said, because I don't stop until I reach it. If I say I'm going to reach one person today, I'm on that phone until I reach that one person. Now, keep in mind that doesn't always happen, right? But are you really, that goes down to another time. Okay, I'm not going to skip ahead. That goes down to something else. We'll talk about that. But just maintaining your your morning routine, writing down those goals, those priorities, making sure that you're getting your brain ready to focus. Don't roll out of bed and go to the phones, because I'm promising you, you're not there, you're not on your game. So that's why I talked about being dressed, showered, have your morning routine, go for a little bit of a walk, have a cup of coffee or have tea, whatever your jam is in the morning. Mine's definitely coffee, but have that whatever in the morning, have that time, making sure you're ready to work so that when you're at work, you're at work. Let's see. One of the great things about working from home is that you get to repurpose your commute time, right? I don't know about you guys. I was commuting an hour one way. So it was back and forth. It was 2 hours a day that I get to repurpose that time. So that's the time that I would normally be traveling, but I use that time for my family now, that I repurpose that time. I'll have time with my husband. I'll call and chat with my kids, check with my kids or my father or any of my siblings that I'm talking with. That's that time that I use. So I have repurposed my driving time and use it for that. So you guys do whatever you guys do with that, but that's super important. I feel it's time that you don't understand, that you're saving, that you didn't understand before. So it's really important. And especially on those nights where we have late calls, using that hour or two that you would normally be commuting, use that appropriately. Or if you don't, you guys, and you are commuting, then making sure that your schedule aligns for you to work direct, focused working when you're here. So again, I already talked about dressing for success, making sure you feel better when you're dressed for success. That's the next one, but I've already talked about it a couple of different times. I don't know about you, but I just do. I feel better when my hair's done. I told Niall, when my makeup is a shield, right? When I have my makeup on, I'm ready to go. It's like my armor. Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm ready to go now. And so for me, that's a priority. I want to put, I don't spend more than 5 minutes on it, but I do put it on and I feel better when I do. And it's the same thing. Rory has his own little schedule that he does as well. So just making sure you're dressed for success, because your dress affects your mental capacity there. Dedicated workspace is number 4, you guys. So you really, I've already talked about this a little bit, but making sure you have a dedicated workspace. Maybe you don't have a room that you can work in. Maybe it's just a corner, but making sure you have a little table set up, you have something set up for you to focus and work appropriately in that space, whatever it be. So just make sure it's dedicated to you. And maybe you have a little candle lit, something for a little something that gets you going, whatever works for you guys. But just have a dedicated workspace where you have your computer and where you have your phone, because you do feel better working in your own space rather than working on the couch. Although sometimes when you travel, that's what you got, right? So, and we do get to travel. We can work from wherever we want to work. Okay. And then making sure, this is super important, you guys, make time to go outside. Okay. Especially for those who are doing this full time. Get a little sun on your face. That vitamin D cannot be replaced. Eat your lunch outside. Have your reset, refocus, recommit time outside. I watch Niall do it all the time. He goes out there in the morning, has his cup of coffee, and he'll, in between calls, he'll run out there, have a few minutes to kind of reset into the sun, go do another call. I watch all of that. And the thing is it's nothing new. We've all been doing it, but I just want to make sure you guys are aware to do that. Especially if you're on the phone for a few hours, after those hours, go step outside for a few minutes, breathe some fresh air, get a little sun on your face. It does make a difference. The next one is conduct as many video meetings as possible. So if you are an instructor and you're starting to train, we have a lot of phone calls, a lot of Skype chats. Things can be misunderstood. So it's so easy. It's so much better to have a video training if you can. And I know all of our MSIs hold trainings. So join theirs at least. And if you have newbies coming on and new things, maybe you have a welcomes training call with your MSI or your PSI or GSI. Make sure you have that capacity. It is important. Like I said, a lot of times people, the first time they see you is on the Tuesday call. And that's okay. But I want them to feel welcome and warm. And we love everybody here. It's really important. So let's see. Next is, this one's so big for me. Set your work hours and keep them. Why would you quit on yourself, you guys? If you're willing to give 8 hours to somebody else to tell you what you have to do with your time, this is your time now to grow and to get out of that. Why would you give up on yourself? So set your work hours and be present in what you're doing. Super, super important. If you're on the phones, Be on the phones, show up when it rings, be there. Don't make Linda wonder where the heck you are, or don't make somebody else have to jump to cover for you. Make sure you're communicating appropriately with those around us, especially if you're on the phones. Make sure that if you say you're going to attend a training, you be there. It's super important that you keep your word to yourself, because it's so easy to quit on yourself. And honestly, I don't understand this, because why would you do that? This is the way out. This is the way for financial freedom and time freedom, which is what I really care about. I want the freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I think you guys want that too. So when we're in build mode, which is now, no one's not in build mode right now, be present in those times, the time that you are set to work. If you come home and you're saying, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour to kind of eat, refresh, whatever, and then I'm going to work from this hour to this, be there, do it. Don't give up on yourself. Be your cheerleader. And the next one is, you guys, is super important as well. Don't watch TV when you're trying to work. Don't have the TV on. Again, that goes back to being present in what you're doing, right? It's, and especially when you're on phones, because people can hear that in the background. I guess I've never understood background noise. So if you're one that likes that, maybe a little like jazz or something, I don't know, but I guess it's because I raised 7 children. So I had enough noise for 5 people. So I like the quiet, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's quiet. Whoa, I can handle it. And now I'm also, in case you didn't know, married to Rory, who is loud as can be. I can hear his conversations through my wall. So when it's quiet, I'm loving it. I'm like, wow, this is so great. But I do like it to have a little jazz on or a little soft music sometimes too. So I get that. But just don't have the TV on, because it does take your distraction away. It does take your focus away. And even if you're not on the phones, you guys, if you're building your pages, you do need to think. And if you're posting, making sure you're not making mistakes when you're posting ads to drive traffic to your site. Those are important things. Anyway. And lastly, I'm going to talk about is setting boundaries. I talked a little bit about this with your family, but also with your coworkers, right? These are the times I work. Please respect that. So in case of an emergency, then that's a different situation. But respecting others. You guys, a lot of people have access to my husband's schedule. And when it says Tanya time, which is me, yeah, I'll call him. How do you think that makes me feel? I'm lucky to get 30 minutes of time with my husband. So when I get that, that's precious time to me. So don't be calling people when they're not available. They're not available, right? Be respectful of their calendar. We have to do that, especially when we're working multiple jobs, when we're doing I wear several different hats. I know a lot of people do as well. So just be respectful of the time that they've set. And unless in case of an emergency, that's the only, those are obviously reasons, but just set your boundaries. And most importantly though, set them for yourself, guys. I'm going to cover this already, but it meets saying again, set them for yourself, set your own boundaries, and don't allow yourself to be sidelined by, and I want to say this very carefully because I don't mean to offend, but sometimes, like I said, family members do not understand what you're trying to do, or they're negative and don't believe in it, right? So they'll interrupt over and over and over again, or they think they can just, I have one instructor that was telling me the issues with her family, they have to always put their kids for her to watch, and she can't always do it. And a lot of people don't understand that people here need to work here. They need to make the money here. That's how they live. And so you have to be strong in setting those boundaries. This is my work time. I cannot watch your children unless there's an emergency, then I can. And I say that, you guys, because I live it. I watch my grandchildren. I do. So Niall's been in my home for the last little bit. He's seen a lot. I watch my grandchildren. I partake in their life as well. It's also very important to me, but I also have that time that I focus on work. And so just setting your own boundaries, and you know what? It's okay to tell people no. It's okay to say, I can't make that church organization. I can't go there. I can't help with this because I have something else. You don't have to make excuses. Just do it because it's what you need to do. I'm sorry that my schedule won't allow that, but maybe the next time. But then if you say that, then do the next time, right? Just making sure that they understand the power of no and the power of boundaries. And it's super important. With this, I think goes hand in hand is the power of belief, you guys. You need to wake up in the morning with belief on your mind. Belief that you can change. Belief that you're worth it. That's super important. A lot of you guys don't believe that. And please, please, I'm begging you to believe that you are worth it, because you are. My belief system is that you are a child of God. So how can you be a mistake? How can you not be of worth? And even if your belief system isn't that, that's okay. But just borrow mine then. Because I believe in you. I believe you're of value and you have major worth. And you are the only you. We don't need duplicates. You're you. So be you, be free to be you, and believe in yourself. Believe that you're going to learn, and believe that you're going to grow, and believe that you have the power to change your life. So that is it from me, Niall. Did I leave anything out? Is there anything you want to add?
Oh, Lord, it's so hard to add to all that. That's, I don't know about you guys, but I hope you have as many notes as I have. They're nothing but golden nuggets to help you hit your goals and grow. And that's life, right? Growing every day, growing to be, not comparing myself to Stacy or you or anybody, but to just be a little bit better than I was yesterday. It's all personal growth, and that's what you just did. Help everybody be a little bit better than they were yesterday. Not perfect, not mastering the entire universe, just being a little bit better than we were yesterday. And if you do that every day, wow. I don't know what I could add to that, Janie. I got a whole page full of notes, and I loved every minute of it.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Well, the only other thing I do want to say that just popped into my head right now is that you guys, believe people until they prove you otherwise. Okay. When you have new students coming in, new people coming in, and they tell you something, believe them until it's a pattern of, and they don't show up, they don't show up, they don't show up. Okay. So, but believe them, put faith in them. But even a lot of people, when they come in, they don't have faith in themselves. So put it in them for them. And I believe something comes back to you that way. So just put the belief in them and believe them until they show you otherwise. Believe that they're going to be successful. Believe it's going to be great until they show you otherwise. And I think that's super important to have that belief, because I have that belief in all of you guys until you show me otherwise. I believe you're all going to be successful because I know it's in you. I know you have it. I know you have the ability to do so. And believe me, I see all your names. I see them all, and I see what's going on. Because I'm the report lady. So I see all that going on. I know what you guys are doing and how hard you're working. I see when you're on the phones. I see when you're posting ads. Oh, is that me? Guess what? My Skype is off, but it still did that. Can you believe that? See, it happens to me. So forgive me. That's the next thing. Please forgive me. Forgive.
So somebody wasn't paying attention to your boundaries, and they're trying to Skype you during your training.
Had it turned off, which is, Skype has those weird things though. Even when you turn it off, it kind of pops back on. So I apologize for that. But anyway, yeah, I can't remember that. Totally lost my train of thought because I do not like being interrupted.
I appreciate that you said go outside, Tanya, and get that fresh air and get that vitamin D, get that sunshine on you. There's probably no better way to recharge than that. And all it takes is 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I just finished a call. I got another one scheduled in 10 minutes. I'm going to use 5 of that to get some sunshine, stretch, get my blood flowing, get that vitamin D production, feel the energy that's coming from that sun. It's a great way to recharge. And it's hard to be in the house all the time. And I've seen people get burnt out from sitting at their desk for 14 hours a day, right? And they think they're doing the right thing, but they never got up and they never stretched. And at the end of the day, they just wore themselves out, and then boom, there's no life left. There's no time for life. And that's what you said was when you decide your work hours, work during those hours. If they're not your work hours, don't work during those hours. That's family time. Yeah, that's critical. So thanks for sharing that too.
Yeah, that's such a valid point, you guys, because I think that family, when you say you're going to be there, be present. What absolutely bothers me is when one of my kids is with me, but they're on the phone the whole time, and they're like, "You wanted time with mom. I'm giving it to you. Put your phone down. Let me see your face. Let me talk to you." And it's not just my kids that do that, but they try, right? At least my children, I can say, "Hey, babe, this is not respectful. I'm loving on you. I want that time with you. Let's give it back." So do that to them, because believe me, I've had so many, I've talked to other family members from people that work for us, and that's one of their complaints, is that their parents are never present. They're not there. So making sure that when you set the boundaries for work, you set the boundaries for family. It's just equally as important. And be present when you're with your family. Tie into them. There was the statistics for family dinner was just astounding to me when I was a young mother, and the success rate of your children based upon having family dinner and just being interactive. But you guys, I made all my children line their phones up on the counter and not have them at the dinner table. And I made dinner for my kids every day because I wanted to make sure that I poured into them and they had that success, right? And it's always possible, but because especially during football season, it wasn't possible. But when it was, I made sure. And therefore, it'd be funny because there'd be 7 phones lined up on the counter there with all the children and myself included, my husband. We'd all have our phones up there. And I remember one time before dinner was over, I took a picture of it just so I could, because it was funny. But yeah, I just made sure that they tied in. So just do the same thing. Have that time where you put your phones down and you're connecting and you're talking about your day, about your hopes, your dreams, about whatever you need to talk about with your family. You know, this job's going to help me to pay off this bill. That's huge. That's why I'm doing this. That's huge. So anyway, with that being said, now I think let's go ahead. Should we have a break and then come back, or what do you want to do?
Sure. Let everybody stretch your legs. Go outside for 2 minutes and get that vitamin D production going on.
And then
Or
come back. We
fill
have
up
wine
your coffee
ambassador
cup.
training. We have
Sharpen your
wine
pencil.
ambassador training, and we have a great thing from Kathleen, and then also myself. I'm going to be talking because I just can't. I guess I can't stop talking this week. So you get more of me.
And we're okay with that.
I'm going to go have another cup of coffee and step outside. So I'll be right back. So everyone take 5. Oh, and turn off your camera. You might want to stop your camera while you're doing it. Just a friendly.